what's going on to the AMC stock family? We do have a lot of exciting news. It's not just good news, it's not just insane news. This is absolutely exciting, and just take a look at this, guys. Look at the volume for September. Even though on a day like today, AMC is about $51, almost $52 a share, let's take into consideration Tesla. Yes, we have been talking about Tesla, but no, we are not going to be talking about Tesla that much in terms of a technical analysis. We are just simply going to take a look at the numbers, the highs of the highs today, and the lows of the lows. Take a look at this, all the way from $743.60 a share from last week, all the way to Friday, and now it is currently at $743. But wait a minute, what's so bad about that? This is actually not representative of what happened this evening. This evening, Tesla went all the way down to $708 per share. Again, that is $708 per share. Almost back to that $700 share range, almost going to that high $600 share range. And so the volume for Tesla has actually been increasing. This volume increase of 20%, this is probably near the end of a day, because the end of a day is when we had that almost 40-point rally. Now let's talk about AMC. Why is this all relevant to each other? AMC has a negative beta, and now a lot of people were talking about how negative beta is going to be helping AMC and GameStop, and that's why these two stocks are going to be the winners. But not many people believe that. Even in the previous videos when I was talking about how AMC did have a negative beta, and it still does have a negative beta, as well as GameStop, we cannot forget about GameStop. Many did not believe that theory and how they would actually work as market hedges, because the more negative you have of an underlying equity in terms of the beta, the better they are as a market hedge in case the market decides to take a turn for the worse. GameStop is also up on the day, but again, Tesla was most certainly not. And it wasn't just Tesla. I'm not just saying that it's Tesla. The reason why I keep on talking about Tesla is because that is representative of the entire market. Usually when Tesla is down, so is the entire market. And we see right over here, the S&P 500, or in other words, the SPY also has an insane down day. And this is not normal. This is pretty occasional, but it should not be happening on a day-to-day basis. And this has not been happening on a day-to-day basis. But again, on that one day, on those occasional days that the S&P 500 does decide to go down in share price, we see that Tesla goes down, but not AMC or GameStop. This is extremely fantastic news, and this is why I'm even more excited for AMC going forward, because this is proving the concept that, wait a minute, AMC may just be that perfect market hedge that we need right now in case the market does decide to take a turn for the worse, because the S&P 500 is extremely high right now. Many have been pointing out saying that the S&P 500 needs to have some sort of a correction. It needs to have some sort of a pullback, and so if that remains the case, if they still believe in that concept, then that would actually be good news for AMC and GameStop. That's why I'm talking about all of this in today's video. Otherwise, there would be no significance talking about the S&P 500 or Tesla. But the simple fact of the matter is that right now, when the general market goes down, AMC goes up. This is known as an inverse correlation. Now, enough with that. Enough of the inverse correlations. Let's talk about the $93.7 million number for AMC. Now, what exactly does this number represent? So if we go back to the AMC chart, take a look at the amount of volume that AMC has. Today, AMC has 74.6 million shares traded, but wait a minute, this is 20% lower than Friday, the previous day. This indicates, and this is again why I'm even more bullish for AMC, because even with the lower volume, because I remember this number was at 93.7 million on the closing price for Friday. And so even though we had lower volume by 20%, just by 20%, which is actually quite a lot, AMC was still very resilient on a day. This is why it's very important to understand how much demand there is, how many shares are being traded, etc., etc. And this is very much different. This is a complete contrast to Tesla. As I just stated, Tesla had a 20% increase in volume, yet the resilience just simply wasn't there. There wasn't enough demand, and especially during the market open, all the way until 10 to 11 o'clock, there just simply wasn't enough buyers. This has not been the case for AMC. In fact, AMC has been continuously rising. And because we have been talking so much about the bullish news for AMC, 93.7 million volume, that's how many shares were traded last Friday, which wasn't too long ago. Now that we know that, wait a minute, Tesla compared to AMC, the S&P 500 compared to AMC, AMC is actually outperforming both of them in just one day. Now, is this trend going to continue? Let's talk about that. Now, this article states what nobody is talking about for AMC stock. AMC is a widely popular stock, so it's easy to hear arguments from both sides, both the buyers and the sellers. People who think that the stock price will go up will point to the fact that the fundamentals have nothing to do with this stock. That's what many people are believing right now. Many of those that are part of the AMC movement actually believe in this term right here, that AMC has nothing to do with fundamentals, and so this is the expression that they continuously talk about. However, there are also other people, and on the other side, they're pointing that the stock price will go down because of the abundance of facts pointing to the company's deteriorating operating performance, or in other words, the balance sheet. Now, also going back to the general AMC movement, many of them believe that it is simply about the supply and demand of shares outstanding. Now, we were just talking about Tesla. We were just talking about the S&P 500. Both of those equities are absolutely phenomenal. The balance sheet on both of them is phenomenal, especially the S&P 500. However, on a day like today, which is a Monday, the fundamentals simply did not matter. The operating performance did not matter. What did matter, though, was the supply and the demand, and how many people were willing to step in and buy those equities. Now, nonetheless, with the NFL season underway, here's one possibility that few are talking about when it comes to AMC stock. AMC operates 950 theaters with 10,500 screens worldwide, and it has mainly used those theaters to show movies, negotiating with studios not to release the films to any other service while they're playing in theaters, a formula that worked relatively well until the turn of the century. Starting in 2002, moviegoing began to decrease in North America and was down by more than 20%. So this author does have a counter argument. Now he says that thanks to the higher quality televisions, better sound systems at home, and the rise of streaming services, fewer individuals are interested to go out and watch a movie. And AMC has likely chosen movie theater locations with dense enough populations to attract the large audiences required to make the investment worthwhile, and dense populations are usually inside large cities. And most large cities have a sports team. Now here's where it gets very interesting. So most large cities, they do have a sports team, if not multiple sports teams. Sports are usually more enjoyable when spectators are watching with the other fans, or better yet, watching with rival fans. That makes AMC's theaters a great location in which fans can watch games. Now here are some potentials and risks of pivoting to sports. So over here we did have the claim, we had what the author was saying, and we know exactly what his opinion is. If AMC would like, they could probably transition and go into sports. However, now there is another counter-argument saying that the potential risk of pivoting to sports, it might be expensive for AMC to acquire the rights to show games at its theaters, but AMC already pays good amounts for the rights to show movies. It normally negotiates to a 50-50 split with studios on film ticket sales, a sum that total $1.7 billion in fiscal years 2018 and 2019 for AMC. Now, if AMC pays nearly $2 billion in content costs annually, why not pay for content in an industry that's not negatively affected by the rise of streaming services? And so once again, the author does talk about going into sports for AMC and how that may benefit AMC, because this is not going to be heavily competed against streaming services like Netflix or Roku, because they simply just don't have any sports. Now, the main difference is that studios agree to wait until AMC runs the movie, collects payment from ticket sales, and then pays a portion of that money to the studios. By contrast, sports leagues sell broadcasting rights to distributors at prices negotiated upfront. That at risk to the distributors because they are not guaranteed to recoup enough revenue to profit from broadcasting the games. It would be more expensive to watch games at a theater than at home, and there's no guarantee that it will gain traction with fans. Now, this author introduces yet another counter-argument. I know we have a very back and forth, either the argument or the counter-argument, but again, AMC could have its test runs. The potential is there. According to a June survey by Statista, 25% of Americans said they were avid sports fans. These enthusiasts could be willing to pay a premium for a better experience at an AMC theater, and whereas moviegoers are unlikely to visit a theater multiple times per week, that is entirely possible with sports fans. What does this mean for investors? Well, for those who believe that the operating performance of AMC does not matter, which is many of those in the AMC stock movement, then a new avenue for revenue or profits is not likely to change their mind. Also not likely to be convinced are those who say that while the idea could be incrementally positive for AMC's business, the stock is still up about an estimated 2,000% in 2021 alone, and so a moderate increase in revenue still does not justify the expensive valuation. Now here the author is talking about those who believe that AMC stock is going to go down because they simply don't agree and they cannot justify AMC's 2,000% increase throughout this year, and skeptics could be right. To help reverse the trend of decreasing attendance, it would have to be an astounding success for it to have a meaningful effect on AMC stock price. Yet, pivoting to showing sports on AMC screens is something that no one is talking about, and if more seriously considered, it could potentially move the stock higher in the long run. This is absolutely insane. I did not even think about the sports aspect into AMC, but this could definitely be a possibility. I mean, after all, AMC did have the Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier UFC fight on the AMC theaters, so why not go into more sports? These are all definitely potentials, and let me know in the comment sections what you guys think about AMC pivoting to sports. Do you guys agree with this or disagree? Now, I know that we did talk about the Tesla chart and the AMC chart quite a bit in the beginning of the video. However, remember in the last video, I was talking about how Tesla was under some temporary pressure because of Cathie Wood selling some Tesla shares. Now, what happened on the opening bell of today's trading day, which is a Monday? Tesla had an insane wick candle drop to the downside. Now, this wick represents downfall, and there was demand eventually, right? Not until quite a while, until the evening, right before the closing bell, but this is very much different from AMC. This is the Tesla candle wick. Now, this is the AMC candle wick in just one day. This difference is astronomical because a lot of people would think that this would be the opposite. Everyone would think that the meme stock would be the one having that much of a candle drop, but that's actually Tesla. And the volume was nowhere near at its all-time highs. We've definitely had higher days, and actually today was the first day that the volume was red rather than green. And so we broke the consecutive days for green candle bars, but that still is irrelevant. Now with that being said, AMC stock family, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.